Goodwood Festival of Speed is currently underway, of course, and as always, a ton of cool new stuff is being debuted or showcased, and there are two cars in particular which I wanted to talk about today, both pretty awesome, and definitely on both ends of the performance spectrum, if you will, old and new. This one that I want to talk about first, though, is incredible. This is how you do a rester mod. It's not even a rester mod, it's beyond that. It's a vehicle which was never produced when it was first intended. I'm sure some of you have already seen this, but for those who haven't, this is one of the most badass projects which I'm so glad exists, because this car has little to no effect on Audi's actual production models, so they just made it because they could. And it is, of course, the Auto Union Type 52. Any Gran Turismo player will find the name Auto Union, of course, recognizable here on the channel. The Streamliner is an incredible car, a very unique performance car. For a good long while it was one of the oldest cars featured in the Gran Turismo series. This one was actually intended to be produced back in the 1930s as essentially like a luxury road-going supercar version of their Grand Prix cars at the time, in particular the Type 22 Grand Prix car. The project here, after being sketched, after having blueprints drawn up, was scrapped right before World War II, around 1935. It was originally planned to have a 16-cylinder engine, about 200-ish horsepower, with a projected top speed of up around 125 miles an hour. So nowhere near as quick as the Streamliners that many of us know of, including the Type C, of course, but at the time, that would have been legitimately one of the quickest cars in the world. It was planned to have just under 120-inch wheelbase and weigh in at about 2,800 pounds and be a McLaren F1 style 3-seat layout with the driver in the middle. Pretty awesome stuff. It kind of is like a McLaren F1 from the 1930s. Now, Audi themselves didn't actually build this. They commissioned a very impressive brand based on their work that they've done here called Crosthwaite Gardener, who took those sketches, they took those blueprints and recreated it, not 100% to what it would have been back in the day. They made some changes. The car itself is bigger and heavier, has a far more powerful engine and a bigger engine than it would have had back then. So the wheelbase is about a foot longer than it would have been, up from 118 to 130 inches. The weight is up from 2,800 pounds to about 3,200, so still not too bad. That's still fairly light. It still has that 3-seat layout, as you'll see in the video. Awesome looking car. Even though it looks kind of like a super limo, it actually appears that the rear doors are more for access to the spare tyres rather than a second row of seats, at least from what I could see on the images. The engine is mounted in the middle as well, of course, kind of making those rear seats a bit of an awkward thing to try and fit if you ever were going to. And in terms of performance, well, this is definitely a lot quicker than the old one would have been, because the engine, still a 16-cylinder but supercharged, a 6-litre engine as well, so this should all sound very familiar to Gran Turismo fans of the Streamliner. This has 512 horsepower, which is exactly what that car has as well, and with that, a manual gearbox also. You'll have noticed that in the pictures. So performance on this thing should be ballistic, probably so quick that you'd never actually want to take it that fast, to be honest, given the reputation, justifiably so, which the Streamliner itself actually had in real life. Of course, unfortunately taking the life of Bernd Rosemeyer at the time, who was doing something like 290 miles an hour, I think it was, something insane like that. Of course, this car wouldn't be as quick as that, nor would Audi ever want it to go as fast as that, but just an incredible bit of kit. I don't know what it is lately, but I thought the times of 16-cylinder cars were gone, but now we've got the Bugatti Tourbillon, we've got this as a one-off creation. It's a pretty awesome time over the past couple of weeks for fellow V16 and 16-cylinder fans in general, such as myself, but this is so me. This car is 100% me. The wacky looks, the incredible engine, that idea of combining the classic vision with modern advantages in terms of the quality of components, the precision of tools, the craftsmanship, the experience, etc. Of course, the funding behind it as well. Just an awesome thing to create for really no other reason than what if. Like I said, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Of course, I will be talking about another car later today, also showcased at Goodwood, the new Red Bull, which is a pretty awesome machine as well. So stick around for that later today. I'll see you then, and for now, thanks for watching.